Hello, and welcome back to the Test Drive Podcast, brought to you by Sport Car USA. I'm your host, Lee Bodette. Here at Sport Car USA, we love all things fast. From stock Corvettes to tuned-up Hellcats, we love it all. So buckle up and come for a ride on this week's episode of Test Drive. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to our Test Drive Podcast number 26. I'm Lee Bodette, your host, and I've been a radio broadcaster for over 40 years. I host a series called Test Drive on the YouTube channel, and I'm the frontman and host of Sport Car USA, and, of course, a car enthusiast my entire life, for sure. With me, as always, is Scott Nickerson from Sport Car USA. What's going on, Scott?
Not too much, Lee.
All right. Good to see you. We are pretty excited as we finally got our showcase in last Friday here at the Handy Toyota and Handy Chevy campus, all part of Sport Car USA, of course. We're all sisters and brothers, if you will. But we did have a showcase, and it did rain a little, Scott.
We got lucky almost 100% of the way.
We did.
We had our showcase scheduled for 6:45 or so, and then one of the people who helps organize all of that came up to me. He's like, Scott, Lee, you got to go over there now. We're moving it up.
Yeah.
They can see the clouds starting rolling, and I was like, it'll be fine. Tail end of the showcase, it starts to drizzle, and I look to my left at the exit of our parking lot, and I see a couple cars filing out. So luckily we dodged it, but
yeah, we definitely dodged some raindrops. We dodged a bullet. And the thing is, we talked with a lot of people. Now, the event was 5 to 8 p.m. On a Friday, this past Friday on the 25th of August. It's been a crazy summer. As most of you know, if you've been listening to these podcasts and watching these podcasts, it's been raining just about every other day here in Vermont and northern New York. So we said we're going to do this one, rain or shine. And for the most part, it was pretty clear, not much rain happening, a few sprinkles here and there. The problem was that the surrounding areas, we are in northern Vermont near the Canadian border, about 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away, if that. And the surrounding areas were getting hammered with rain.
Yeah, there was someone who was bringing their red eye, and they were coming from an area maybe 30 minutes away,
right?
Not even, but it's not very far away by air. It's just kind of divided by some water. But it was downpouring.
Yeah,
they were driving their red eye here, so they sacrificed some stuff to come out to the show. But
yeah, and when you have when you have a special car, my thinking is I'm not taking mine out in the rain.
I know you're not psyched.
I did. I brought the 2020 Corvette to the showcase, and I wasn't real happy. I was kind of like nudged by my general manager to bring it, and I did bring it because I want to stay employed. Yeah. Number one, but I talked with some people from Essex Junction, Vermont, and that's about 30 minutes away. We're in St. Albans, Vermont, heading south from here. They told me it was pouring buckets. I'm just thinking, if you're at home and you know that there's a showcase event in St. Albans and it's pouring rain all around you, why would you come?
Yeah, but we had good turnout.
We did have a good turnout. We really did.
Considering that we were in this weird bubble of no rain and everywhere else was getting hammered, we had quite a few cars come out, and we've already released some highlights of the show and kind of like the full showcase of cars that came out yesterday on our YouTube and Facebook pages. But we've got some interviews that we're going to look at today, which were cut a little bit short. There's definitely some people we would have loved to speak to, but they either took off a little earlier because of the rain, or we had to push some things around. But we definitely got some good interactions, some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And people had a good time.
That's a great way to describe it, Scott, is that we were in a bubble.
Yeah.
Not like the NBA bubble. No. During the coronavirus, but it felt like a bubble. We looked all around and we could see the clouds getting really dark. And it's like, oh my goodness. And that's like, you did mention that we had to move things up a bit. Normally we would go to 8 o'clock, and I think we moved things up to around 6:45 or so, the showcase of cars, because what we do is Sport Car USA has modern muscle cars, dozens upon dozens. We wanted to showcase those, and I would be the MC talking a little bit about each car. So it kind of looked like they were lining up for NASCAR race.
Yep.
They were like
starting grid.
Yeah, the starting grid was really cool to see. We made it through, and just made it through. Right after that, we wrapped it up, and it started pouring.
Yeah.
It was kind of a strange rain. It was a light rain, but heavy. Does that make any sense at all?
The drops themselves were light, but it was fast.
Yeah,
I guess.
that's for sure.
It was bizarre. And, of course, the day before, on Thursday,
right,
bright and sunny.
Of course. Yeah, that's the way it's been all summer.
This whole weekend, today, beautiful. We're recording this on Friday.
Labor Day weekend.
Yep, today, beautiful. All of Labor Day weekend, beautiful. Which is surprising.
Yeah, and next week, sunny in the 90s.
Yeah, this past week has been like perfect, like fall almost weather.
Yeah.
And what can you do?
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do. So I grew up in Vermont my entire life, born and bred, and I've never seen anything like this summer, ever.
So much rain.
Yeah.
This is like a spring. You'd think it's still spring with the amount of rain we're getting.
Right.
And it's just been nonstop.
I was just talking to one of the sales associates here at Handy Toyota, again, one of our sister companies, and he just sold a car to a couple. Their main concern was, is this a flood car?
Yep.
It's a brand new Toyota.
Yep.
No, he told them Toyota would not feel too good about selling cars that have been in floods.
That's a reasonable question, though.
It is. It's on everybody's mind, yeah.
Even
but
with
no
just
way.
The other day we had, the ground I feel like hasn't had a good chance to dry.
Right.
Like not much rain and it's piling up, but we pulled it off.
And actually talking to that same Toyota sales rep, he said that they went through some special training because of all the rain here in the North Country this year and all the flooding, just devastating flooding, almost like Hurricane Irene, if not worse. They had to go through training to identify cars that are coming in to make sure they do not have flood damage.
Huh.
Yeah. So what they're doing now is they're, as they say in the business, they're racking the car, putting the car up on a lift, taking a good look at it, looking for mold, stains of any type.
Like silt deposits.
Exactly. Sand, right? It's pretty miserable. But you got to be real careful if you own a car dealership because there are some people out there that are, let's just say, not real honest.
Yep.
And they will take advantage of others by buying these flood cars.
Trying to flip them.
Yep. Now, dealerships, I will tell you this. If you have a car dealership and you have brand new cars that have been affected by floods, you cannot sell those. You cannot sell them to anyone. Somebody wants to give you a $5,000 over sticker. Why would they do that? But you cannot. You have to leave them as they are. And as a dealer told me, who's from Hardwick, Vermont, they were really devastated by this flooding. The Ford Motor Company, Ford dealer, they would come in, collect the cars, and he said, what are you going to do with them? Crush them. Absolutely crush the heck out of them. And they want nothing to do with these vehicles being sold to any individuals. Even if you wanted to, let's say, take a part or two off of one of these flood cars, can't do it.
Wow.
Yeah, roof rack, leave it on.
That's unfortunate.
Or they will not get their insurance money.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he said $5.2 million worth of damage at this particular dealership in Hardwick, Vermont.
And that's just one.
Yeah.
Just
exactly. Yeah. So to get back to our showcase, we were very excited to finally have one.
Yes.
And we had the Creamy truck, which was very popular. Had the St. Albans Town and St. Albans City fire departments here.
Yep.
Great seeing those guys and gals.
The giant American flag.
That was so cool. And this is a huge flag. Please take a look at some of our videos online. But very large flag, the largest one I've ever seen. I actually hear they have a larger one.
All right, next year.
They actually have a larger flag than this one.
Next year. We'll bigger.
So when the cars would be rolling in, some of our photographers would be out there taking pictures of the cars right by the American flag up above.
Yeah, I think those are really good shots.
Nice touch.
Yeah, it's fun. And those are some things that, like, if you come to our shows that you can expect to be able to, like, take home. Like, we post all those pictures on our Facebook pages, and if you reach out, we can give you full resolution copies or whatever. But, that's what I think it's all about, isn't, like, our show is a little bit more unique where we don't do awards and stuff. At least this past year we didn't.
Yeah.
There's talks about doing awards and doing it a little bit differently next year, bigger and better. But people come to just hang out. We had a lot of different car clubs that showed up. We had, I know, the Twisted Tuners, Outcast Cruisers, I believe is their name. And there were a few others, the Old Derelicts, who we've spoken to on the podcast
Yes, we
before. A couple of those guys came out, and I think that's really fun. Is like Sport Car USA kind of wants to unify all of the car enthusiasts in the state and beyond. We're kind of pushing forward to create, we've talked about it in this last week, kind of create a forum where if you run this car show or that car show, you can bounce ideas off other people that run car shows, and you can come together so that the audience that goes to this show also knows about the other ones.
Yeah.
And I think that doing something like that helps everybody run shows, because a lot of them are for charity.
Right.
And they're raising money for good causes like Camp Tecumseh or the local fire departments and things like that. So,
right. Camp Tecumseh is a camp for kids that have cancer. They get to spend a week or two there in the islands, North Hero, South Hero, right around there. And they have a couple of weeks where they don't have to think about their illness and do what kids are supposed to do, have
summer
fun.
Camp stuff. And,
Yeah.
And that's the Old Derelict show that they hosted.
Right.
And of course we talked to them. So there's all kinds of really good stuff that comes out of car shows. It's not just people revving their engines and doing burnouts and stuff. But yeah, I think unifying all those groups is really beneficial. So
yeah, to me, our showcase of cars, it doesn't seem like a quote unquote car show.
No,
it feels like a family event for young and old, just to have a good time on a Friday early evening.
Yep.
We
we
had
had all kinds of
yeah.
every age, anyone you
Absolutely.
could think of was there.
And everything's free as far as like the food goes, the swag. We had some Sport Car USA memorabilia we were giving away, and we hope to have more and different types of memorabilia down the road. We're working on that as well for Sport Car USA. I think one of the favorite parts of the show for me, because I'm a very patriotic guy, I was in the National Guard a couple of times, in the Air National Guard and the Army National Guard, but I'm just very patriotic, is the singing of the national anthem. You mentioned the big flag. We've been talking about that. And
nice
just
touch.
everything stops. And people so respectful, taking their hats off, standing for our national anthem. It was cool to see.
Yeah, and I think it's a good touch, especially with that giant flag hanging over the entryway of our show. And, it's a good kickoff.
Very classy.
And it was very well done.
Yeah,
the rendition
absolutely.
was very good.
Next year, you alluded to a little bit, we may, again, we're all in the beginning stages of our planning for 2024, but we may just have one gigantic event instead of a monthly event during the spring and summer. And I'm talking an event with entertainment. We had entertainment this year with a DJ.
Maybe some bands.
Some bands, yeah.
Food trucks.
Food trucks.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. We're going to have some local clubs. I know we talked to them in the past, but they have these little, they're like the Shriners.
Yeah.
They have these little cars that kids can climb in and sit in. I haven't proposed that as an official idea yet, but I think it'd be cool to have like a racing simulator.
Yeah.
I think that could be a cool touch. Have like something that the show we went to a couple weeks ago in Waterbury did is they had a tech tent. And I think if we could have them bring something like that where they show like a cutaway of an engine, the sleeve valve engine or whatever it was. And I think that's the stuff that gets the kids involved.
Right.
Is especially in the classic cars is, they don't care about a steam engine vehicle necessarily as much as a loud modern muscle car.
Yeah.
But I think bridging that gap, you could have all kinds of stuff at a show like that.
I agree.
And we got the space.
We certainly have the space here at Sport Car USA. The Handy Chevy, Handy Toyota dealership is very large, many acres, and I'm sure that we will do a good job pulling that off next year if that's the route we decide to go on. But I just love being in Franklin County, Vermont, because it's such a giving community. Oh, yeah. We had the Asher young man.
Yep, Asher Lawrence.
Yeah, he has a disease that is just like ALS, except it's a child. And they raised 99% of the funds towards a new van for this young man. It all came from Franklin County.
Yep.
99%.
Yeah, and they were out again at our last showcase, and I think they did pretty well.
Yeah.
So I think he's got the van, like you're saying, he's fully funded. They've got the van already, so they're still raising more funds, and he's been able to go down and get his treatments. So it's really, like you said, really giving community.
I think most people love being a part of something like this. It's not all about Sport Car USA. It really is an event that represents what we do in Franklin County. We weren't looking to sell sport cars at this event. If we sold one or two, sure, but we aren't saying, okay, this one is $45,000 tonight only. It's not what this is all about.
I don't know if
We did
said
not
the
talk prices. No.
a single time.
We just showed the cars, and then people brought their cars.
Yeah.
And it's just a good old time. So you mentioned we did get some interviews in. We tried before the rain started pelting us.
Not as many as we would have liked, but
No.
I think we got some really quality interviews.
All right, so we're going to take a look at some of those and listen to some of those interviews coming right up. Okay, we're here with Jason Bonnet. And Jason, where you from?
St. Albans.
Jason, you have a very special car here under the tent. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, this is my asphalt modified we run mostly down in the New Hampshire area. Had it for my second year with this car, and we're still learning it, but having a lot of fun.
How did you come upon something like this?
My family's been in racing for, my father used to race, and I've run now for about 20 years, so we've kind of just moved up through the ranks, and then just keep plugging away at it, having fun.
What about the horsepower? How fast will this go?
This right here, this has got the 604 GM crate motor in it. So they're pushing about 500 horse, and it all depends what track we go to, depending on the gearing we run, so on and so forth, to what the speed is. But.
All right, walk us through the car and tell us a little bit about it more. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so this is a Troyer chassis. It's built from Troyer Manufacturing, which is down in Massachusetts and over in New York. So it's fully tubular chassis built, NASCAR spec. And yeah, so we got the cockpit pretty much with the safety gear that ever you got to run, sanctioned by NASCAR now. And there's a lot to it, we got adjustments for jacking bolts and the suspension. This is a NASCAR Whelen modified, also, the former car. So it's got all the adjustments and everything else you can do to adjust for each track.
Where are you actually racing this?
We run kind of throughout the Northeast, mainly concentrated out of New Hampshire. The NHSTRA series. Consists of about 6 different races, so between Claremont Speedway, Monadnock Speedway, and Hudson Speedway. And then we finish out the season down in Lee Speedway. They're mostly out in New Hampshire.
What kind of results have you had with it?
So far, we've had a couple top 10 finishes this year, and then we had one DNF, unfortunately, which obviously you don't ever want to have. But so we got it back together, and we're running in 2 weeks now back down in Monadnock Speedway, New Hampshire.
How did you get involved with racing?
Like I said, it's been in my family. My father, my uncles all raced back when they were younger, and we've kind of just kept going with it and having fun.
Ever have any, let's say, accidents?
Oh, yeah, we've had a few, unfortunately. Like I said, a few weeks ago, we were racing down at Monadnock Speedway, and we got in somewhat of a wreck where we kind of went over top of another car, ripped a hole in the oil pan, so that kind of stuff unfortunately happens, but it's all part of it. And we got a great group of guys, crew, that helped me put it back together, and obviously all the great sponsors we have, too, help us out, and good partnerships.
Now, are these volunteers or are they getting paid?
No, it's luckily all volunteer. My father, Ron, Dan DeSorsi, and then I've got Wayne Jaycox and a few other guys that help me out too through the season, and obviously pay their way to get in the pits. But yeah, it's all volunteer, which I appreciate. Wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Yeah, and it's a lot of time and effort, isn't it?
It is. It's a big commitment. We have fun though. Most of us have campers. We'll kind of go make a weekend of it a lot of times if we can. The families come have fun too. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, I do watch some NASCAR, and I know the safety has really gone up as far as, I see some of these cars, not necessarily this, but roll over and people walk out of it without a problem. The Hans device, what kind of safety features are in here?
Oh, exactly, all the same. Like I said, this is a NASCAR style car, so it's got all the NASCAR specs and rules in it too. We got to follow their rule book, so it's got all the full roll cage, full containment seat. I got to wear the Hans device too, so it's all the same kind of safety features.
Does it seem kind of taxing wearing that Hans device?
No, it's not at all. You don't really realize you're in it. When the seats are all built right for you, so when you're sitting there, it's like sitting in your recliner at home. Really, it's all fit right to you. It's snug, tight, and you don't notice your safety devices. They're obviously there for a reason, but you get used to it real quick.
What's in Jason Bonnet's future?
I don't know. We're just having fun with this right now. Kind of still learning the tracks and learning this car still, and take it race by race and go from there.
Any other race type vehicle that you'd be interested in pursuing?
No. Obviously, anybody's ultimate goal would love to be running, full-blown NASCAR stuff. But like I said, this is one of the closest things that comes to it, and I'm loving it so far. It's a lot of fun.
All right, if you could just give us your full name and where you're from.
Ron Porter, St. Albans, Vermont.
Ron, I'm not sure what this is. Tell us what vehicle you brought to Sport Car USA Showcase today.
95 Chevy Caprice Classic, custom. It's got everything, 20-inch Riddler wheels, light kits, BBK header, BBK throttle body, air ride suspension, everything. X-Glow lights underneath, obviously, and in the lights. Custom headlights, tail lights. I can't think of all of it, but it's got a lot in it. Custom stereo. Yeah.
How long have you had it?
About 4 years.
And was it a vehicle that you were looking for, or you just came upon it?
My son always wanted one, so I said we're going to build him one, and then when I shit the bucket, I'll give it to him.
Okay.
I got 2 others, too, so yeah.
So how did you come up with the desire to do certain modifications to it?
My son, and I like muscle cars. This ain't a muscle car. I have 2 muscle cars. This is my boy, so everything he wanted, I just put in it.
You got an interesting light show here. Tell us about it.
It's X-Glow. The front is just pretty cheesy off the internet, you know, $25, but underneath's a lot of money. But yeah, it does like 100 different patterns, and yeah, it's pretty sick.
So what do you do with this vehicle? You just drive it around? You go to car shows?
Car shows. I'm a president of the Elcast Cruiser Car Club. So yeah, we're all over. We do New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. We're heading down to Import Evolution here in September.
Where's that car club out of?
Right here, St. Albans. Okay. But we're all over. We got a chapter in New York. We got a chapter in Southern Vermont. One down in Mass, very small chapter down there. Trying to build some more members.
Where did you find this vehicle?
This came out of South Carolina. Yeah, I got a really good deal on it, so I had to take it.
So I'm guessing the body's in really good shape?
Absolutely. No rust nowhere. Not even on the frame, nowhere. This is a really nice car.
We're in northern Vermont. Did you drive it back?
Yes, we drove it back. Bought it, drove it.
What was the vehicle like before you did any modifications?
Mostly stock. Yeah, mostly stock.
Ever send a picture to the person you bought it from?
My son probably has. Yeah. I'm not good on the internet.
You mentioned you had some other cars at home, or
yeah. I've got a mint 87 Monte Carlo SS with a 454 big block TH 400, 9-inch Ford rear end with 411s. Runs 11 Ford, 117. Then I'm just finishing up an El Camino with a 454 big block TH 400, 9-inch Ford. That should be in the 10s.
So you do all the work yourself?
No, I'm too old now. I used to. Now I'm fortunate enough where I can pay the real guys to do the real stuff.
I'm guessing you've had a lot of cars in your life?
Absolutely.
And since you have had a lot of cars in your lifetime, what's your favorite?
Chevy, all the way.
Any specific one?
Well, I had a 51 Fleetline that was a nitrous car a few years back, but I traded it for the Elco. I just needed something new.
Any car you wish you had back?
My father's Buick Riv 454. Yeah.
A lot of sentimental value there.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be the one I'd be looking for.
Okay, tell us your first name and last name and where you're from.
Ray Trombley from St. Albans, Vermont.
Ray, what kind of a machine do we have here?
37 Ford Roadster.
Tell us all about it. How long you had it?
We had it for 3 years now.
Where'd you get it from?
We bought it down at the Street Rod Nationals in Essex Junction.
Wow, we're going to be there, Sport Car USA, very soon. Another, few weeks?
2 weeks or so, yeah.
Well, we're going to see you there. What's the history on this car?
It was built in Delaware. In fact, the gentleman that was having it built passed away. Didn't ever get to drove it. His wife and son did not know nothing about the car. They didn't even know how to open the doors. Yeah, then they consigned it through Barrett Jackson. And it went through the auction, and a guy in New Jersey bought it. And he had it at the Street Rod Nationals. And we ended up buying it from him.
Well, any car that goes through Barrett Jackson has to be one clean car.
This is a clean car. It's got less than 2,500 miles on it.
Where have you driven it to?
The farthest it's been is Essex Junction. Yeah.
It's your baby.
That's one of the babies we have.
What are the other babies?
My wife has a 34 Ford 5-window coupe, and we have a 48 Ford pickup.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Ray?
Too many toys.
A lot of toys. You got to have your toys, right? Okay, Sport Car USA Showcase rolls along. Tell us your name, where you're from.
Alan Wheelock from Eden, Vermont.
Al, what are we looking at here?
You're looking at a prototype. It's a 2012. They made 44 of the manufacturer's prototypes. They let them out for a year. They would test them, bring them back. Supposedly they crushed them.
Only 44? What number is this one?
This one is number 39. Here's the sheet. with all the specs on how many they made.
That's one special car.
You can see on the MSR sheet. It says
How were you able to attain this?
I bought it through a Ford dealer.
How did that work out? Where's the Ford dealer?
I can't say.
Oh, it's a secret.
It's a secret.
Okay. You had connections.
Not really. I just bought it.
You got lucky.
I didn't know about it until I went to another car show and another guy had one like that. And he's the one who got me onto the MP cars.
How many miles on it?
26,000.
So it's a driver.
It's a driver.
But it is 2012.
2012.
Okay.
Yep.
Any modifications to it that you've done?
No, it's all stock.
So you're very happy with this vehicle.
I am very happy with it.
Own any other vehicles?
No.
One's enough.
One's enough, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, we're with Dick Pepin from St. Albans. And Dick, tell us all about the car you brought to the Sport Car USA showcase.
Well, it's a 1955 Thunderbird, and it comes from Atlanta, Georgia, about 7 years ago. I think we got that. And it's, I love it. I think the world of this car. And it's brought many trophies. Anyhow, that's the story in this car. I put the top up because I thought it was going to rain today.
Right. So you've always wanted a Thunderbird, right?
Oh, I stayed with Ford all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Any unique features on this car that we should know about?
Not really. It's got the original engine. Everything on this car is mainly original, except for the carburation. I had to change the carburetor on it.
How did you find it?
I found it on Hemingway book.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it in there, and after I sold the Crown Vic, I took a trip down to Atlanta, Georgia, one day and come back one day.
Nice.
And I bought it, and I had it shipped back.
Okay, give us your full name and where you're from.
Jeff King from St. Albans, Vermont.
Jeff, what'd you bring to the Sport Car USA showcase today?
I got a replica 1963 Austin Healey.
Where'd you get it and how long have you had it?
I found the body into a garage and I put it together, and I've had it for now just over 10 years.
How difficult of a task was it to find parts and to get this thing put together?
Well, that's why it's a hot rod now, so it's a lot easier to find parts for it to build things. So yeah, so I went hot rod route.
Is this a vehicle that you've always wanted?
Not really. A friend of mine told me about it, and I went and looked at the body and thought it was something unique. It was rare. I really don't see very many of them, and so I bought it and decided to build it.
What's the most unique feature on this vehicle?
I don't know. I think it's the body of it itself. It's more looks like a, Cobra, which it's not, and I kind of like that.
All right. Anything else you want to tell us about this car?
No, it's just a lot of fun to drive around.
You're gonna hang on to it for a while.
I think so. Yeah. I don't think I'll get rid of it.
Scott Nickerson from Sport Car USA, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Lee.
And we'll see you on podcast number 27.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I know you will be. Thanks to everyone for listening to our Test Drive podcast today. I'm your host, Lee Bodette. Be sure to check out our Test Drive series on YouTube. And we'll see you next time on our Test Drive podcast. And remember, let's never forget the men and women serving this great country of ours. Goodbye, everybody.